So on the one hand, I kind of feel like this season is the closest to filler that we've gotten on this show, but at the same time, having just finished it, I admire it at the same time because everybody did move along. It was just a little more subtle, because Fiona, she's trying to grow into new shoes as manager of the diner, a role that she didn't want last season, but has come to embrace as time went on. She makes the investment at that laundromat on a whim. Turns out not to be good at investment, but then against her better judgment, she does accept a way out, but then at the end of the season comes into a different venture that this time she actually has advance notice of. Although I didn't really trust her relationship with the realtor guy. I don't remember his name now, even though even in the first interaction I'm like, oh great, there she goes again, hooking up with somebody that is not going to do her good and that kind of a thing. But then you see how honest he's being about the place and throwing out all kinds of reasons for her to not exactly go into it, but she ultimately decides to go for it, even though, of course, it's going to be much tougher for her to get out of that than the laundromat, because, as Frank mentioned last season, gentrifying the neighborhood, Margot comes in and swoops up the laundromat. Who's going to sweep up that place? They're just going to tear it down. Most likely, But, well, I'm going to find out in a few minutes anyway, because I'm going to start the next season the moment I finish this video, so we'll see how that goes. Carl, we've got the other side of the yin-yang coin, where instead of being on the street, now he's trying to make something up of himself, and contrary to expectations, he's sticking to it. Nice, and clearly the actor doesn't seem to mind not being used as much, which is interesting because given how he's been away once again, he's the only real main character that's been gone for multiple episodes. I don't take that back. Ian, after he joined the military. I forgot. Right, but still, it's kind of interesting to see that. Then, Debbie and Lip continuing their issues from the prior season, although, the bit where Debbie was gonna leave, Harry slash, what's the full name of it? I don't even remember the full name of the baby. I don't remember. Oh god, what kind of a fan am I? Just in front of the firehouse like that and swooping her back up? Just come on. I wish you could have done that a little bit better. And then Ian's relationships, like his relationship with Trevor, that was good because you have bickerings with Trevor sort of similar to like how Ian and Mickey were arguing a lot, but you gotta remember, Ian and Mickey grew up in a bad neighborhood. Both of them have dysfunctional home lives, coming into terms with their sexuality and their different ways. Like, Ian accepts it, doesn't totally know how to express himself, especially since in real life, as the show is going on, gay rights exploded from just being available in a couple of states to the whole country. You went from 2 states in 2009, I believe it was, to all of them just 6 years and a little bit of change later. That's crazy. Right. And then Mickey, just having his own issues. But the way that Ian and Trevor bickered, it nonetheless had just familiarity to it, because it shows the bit that was missing in Ian's relationship with Caleb, that no relationship is perfect, but the way that these two were bickering, it just made sense. It felt tangible. And like how it leaves at the end of the season. Ian notices that despite Trevor saying something that shows like he genuinely cares, he doesn't show. But he's like, we'll see. but you realize that he's accepting of it either way, because he's like, if it's over, he knows that he blew it. But at least he was honest in the end. And then if it works, well, there you go. Continuing onward. Then the Kayla bit, I feel like the way that they handled it was kind of bad, but then again, I think because they were trying to make the character seem very perfect for Ian and then turn him into not so perfect, like, it was tough to show both sides of this. Just, I don't know, just... I really can't help but feel like they just wanted to write the character off, unfortunately, and they didn't want to make it that much of a gradual arc, like getting rid of Sheila, Karen, Sammy, arguably Mickey in prior seasons, you know? But just tossing him like that, well, it makes sense, because you keep saying that you're gay, and then you turn out to not be so quite gay. I don't know. Although it is an interesting conversation, though, how Ian and Lip both discuss the issue, because, like, it's an interesting question. Like, okay, I'm straight, and I have a definitive preference in women. I like brunettes, but out of all the guys in this whole planet, you seriously don't think out of the X amount of billion that there are, I don't have the exact figures, you don't seriously think that it's possible that I could meet one just random guy out there, and for whatever reason, personality-wise, things just click, especially since now that I'm in my 30s, albeit just barely. I'm older, so... It's not the craziest idea ever. And trust me, I have dipped into gay porn very briefly, and then I'm like, I can't do this. You know? So I know that was probably TMI, but it is... I'm glad that they included that. I really am. And then Mickey. At first I thought it was dumb for them to bring him back, and the way that Ian changed his mind, I wish that they had done a little more for describing the reason, because even in the deleted scene of the last episode, when Lip explicitly asks Ian, what made you change your mind? Ian doesn't say anything. Yeah. But when he says that I love you to Mickey, I think he meant it. 100% he meant it. And like his expression when he sees Mickey getting across the border, you can't fake that amount of happiness. He's glad that he got away. Yeah, and I was glad for him too, because it's not that I wanted him to get a good fate, but at the same time, I didn't want him to get a trashy fate either, even though I was fine with him, with the idea of him being in prison for the rest of the show, and then he's just never talked about again. I would have been fine with that. It would have made sense. Even though in my mind, when he had gotten in there, I had been thinking they're probably going to use you again. Just the way that this is leaving off, I don't buy it. Sammy may be, but her kid isn't in the picture anymore, and that was the only real reason she was sticking around, her kid. Yeah. Right, and... yeah, from now on, I think that Ian has a decent chance of actually having good things in his bit, except for the romance bit. Maybe I'm eating my own words, I don't know, I'll find out momentarily, won't I? And then Kevin, Veronica, and Svetlana's storyline. How much further can they keep this going? Yeah, like, it was good for a season and then change, but now that it keeps going, like, how many different ways can they do this relationship? It's something's gotta give. I mean, like, it seemed like they were heading there, but then the show seems to stop just short of really putting the nail in it. They kind of did, and yet they kind of didn't. So, yeah. And also, now they're starting to bring up the idea of the alibi being in financial trouble again. I don't know. You were arguing that back in like season 3, you know, when that Stan character was about to pass. Just, right. And it's a bit of a bummer they haven't brought back Veronica's mother, but then again, only so many ways you can use that character, and yeah. Okay. Anything else that I'm really forgetting here? Not that I can really think of. So I know I didn't do the best job. Oh, Frank and Monica, hello! Right, so that was kind of touching how they finally wrapped up Monica's bit, because I did feel for Frank, but at the same time, given how much he's rebounced from girl to girl to girl on this show, he'll get over it. Right, but there definitely was a part of him that loved her, because, I mean, like she herself said, she tried to kill him, I think, twice, and he got with her 3, 4 times. That's been established over the course of the timeline of this show, so even before the show begins, something happened there, yeah. We'll see. So I know I didn't do the best job of justifying what I said at the beginning, but I'm glad that they did this. Yeah. See you in the next vid.